1. Nutrition in plants. In class 6, you learned that food is essential for all living organisms. You also learned that carbohydrates, protein, fats, vitamins and minerals are components of foods. These components of food are called nutrients and are necessary for our body. All living organisms require food. Plants can synthesize food for themselves, but animals, including humans, cannot. They get it from plants or animals that eat plants. Thus, humans and animals are directly or indirectly dependent on plants. Bojo wants to know how plants prepare their own foods. Mode of nutrition in plants. Plants are the only organisms that can prepare food for themselves by using water, carbon dioxide and minerals. The raw materials are present in their surroundings. Their nutrition enables living organisms to build their bodies, to grow, to repair damaged parts of their bodies, are, and provide the energy to carry out life processes. Nutrition is the mode of taking food by an organism and its utilization by the body. The mode of nutrition in which organisms make food themselves from simple substances is called autotrophic. Auto means self and trophos means nourishment, nutrition. Therefore, plants are called autotrophs. Animals or most other organisms like in food prepared by plants. They are called heterotrophs. Heteros means others. Paheli wants to know why our body cannot make food from carbon dioxide. Water and minerals like plants do. Now we may ask where the food factories of plants are located, whether food is made in all parts of a plant or only in certain parts. How do plants obtain the raw material from the surroundings? How do they transport them to the food factories of plants? Next, photosynthesis, food making process in plants. Leaves are the food factories of plants. Therefore, all the raw materials must reach the leaf. Water and minerals present in the soil and absorbed by the roots and transported to the leaves. Carbon dioxide from air is taken in through the tiny pores present on the surface of leaves. These pores are surrounded by guard cell. Such pores are called stomata. Cells, this is a picture of cells, nucleus, cytoplasm, cell membrane. You have seen that buildings are made of bricks. Similarly, the bodies of living organisms are made of tiny units called cells. Cells can be seen only under the microscope. Some organisms are made of only one cell. The cell is enclosed by a thin outer boundary called the cell membrane. Most cells have a distinct, centrally located spherical structure called nucleus. The nucleus is surrounded by a jelly-like substance called cytoplasm. Next, Bojo wants to know how water and minerals absorbed by roots reach the leaves. Water and minerals are transported to the leaves by the vessels, which run like pipes throughout the root. The stem and branches and the leaves, they form a continuous path or passage for the nutrient to reach the leaf. They are called vessels. We will learn more about transport of materials in plants in chapter 11. Paheli wants to know what is so special about the leaves that they can synthesize food but their other parts of the plant cannot. The leaves have a green pigment called chlorophyll. It helps leaves to capture the energy of the sunlight. This energy is used to synthesize or means prepare food from carbon dioxide and water. Since the synthesis of food occurs in the presence of sunlight, it is called photosynthesis. Photo means light and synthesis means to combine. So we find the chlorophyll, sunlight, carbon dioxide and water are necessary to carry out the process of photosynthesis. It is a unique process on the earth. The solar energy is captured by the leaves and stored in the plant in the form of food. Thus, the sun is the ultimate source of energy for all living organisms. Can you imagine life on earth in the absence of photosynthesis? In the absence of photosynthesis, there would not be any food. The survival of almost all living organisms, directly or indirectly, depends upon the food made by the plants, besides oxygen, which is essential for the survival of all organisms, is produced during photosynthesis. In the absence of photosynthesis, life would be impossible on the earth. Besides leaves, photosynthesis also takes place in other green part of the plant, in green stems and green branches. The desert plant have scale or spine-like leaves to reduce loss of water by transpiration. These plants have green stem which carry out photosynthesis. This is the diagram showing photosynthesis. This is light energy, carbon dioxide, oxygen, intake, outtake. Chlorophyll in leaf, water and minerals. During photosynthesis, chlorophyll containing cells of leaves in the presence of sunlight use carbon dioxide and water to synthesize carbohydrates. The process can be represented in an equation. Carbon dioxide plus water present with sunlight and chlorophyll becomes carbohydrate and oxygen. A leaf, this is the section of leaf, this is chlorophyll, this is guard cell and this is stoma. This is stoma. This is guard cell and stomatal opening. During the process, oxygen is released. The presence of starch in the leaves indicates the occurrence of photosynthesis. Starch is also a carbohydrate. Bojo has observed some plants with deep red, violet or brown leaves. He wants to know whether these leaves also carry out photosynthesis activity. Take two potted plants of the same kind, keep one in the dark or in a black box for 72 hours and the other in sunlight. Perform iodine test with the leaves of both the plants as you did in class 6. Record your result. Now leave the pot which was earlier kept in the dark in the sunlight for 3 to 4 days and perform the iodine test again on its leaves. Record your observation in your notebook. The leaves other than green also have chlorophyll. The large amount of red, brown and other pigment mask the green color. Photosynthesis takes place in these leaves also. Leaves of variation of colors. You often see slimy green patches in ponds or stagnant water bodies. These are generally formed by the growth of the organisms called algae. Can you guess why algae are green in color? They contain chlorophyll, which gives them the green color. Algae can also prepare their own food by photosynthesis. Synthesis of plant food other than carbohydrates. You have just learned that plants synthesize carbohydrates through the process of photosynthesis. The carbohydrates are made of carbon, hydrogen and oxygen. These are used to synthesize other components of food such as proteins and fats. But proteins are nitrogenous substances which contain nitrogen. And from where do the plants obtain nitrogen? Recall that nitrogen is present in abundance in gaseous form in the air. However, plants cannot absorb nitrogen in this form. Soil has certain bacteria that converted gaseous nitrogen into the usable form and release it into the soil. These are absorbed by the plants along with water. Also, you might have seen farmers adding fertilizer rich in nitrogen to the soil. In this way, the plants fulfill their requirements of nitrogen along with the other constituents. Plants can then synthesize protein and vitamin. Other modes of nutrition in plants. There are some plants which do not have chlorophyll. They cannot synthesize food. How do they survive and from where do they derive nutrition? Like humans and animals, such plants depend on the food produced by other plants. They use the heterotrophic mode of nutrition. Look at figure 1.5. Do you see a yellow very branch structure twigging around the stem and branches of a tree? This is the plant called Cuscuta, means a marble. It does not have chlorophyll. It takes ready-made food from the plants on which it is climbing. The plant on which it climbs is called the host, since it deprives the host of valuable nutrients. Cuscuta means a marble on host plant. Cuscuta is called the parasite, another, and other animals also a kind of parasites. You should think about it and discuss with your teacher. Paheli wants to know whether mosquitoes, bedbugs, lice, and leeches that sucks our blood are also parasites. Have you seen or heard of plants that can eat animals? There are a few plants which can trap insects and digest them. Is it not amazing? Such plants may be green or of some other color. Look at the plant in figure 1.6. The pitcher-like or jug-like structure is a modified part of leaf. The apex of the leaf forms a lid, which can open and close the mouth of the pitcher. Inside the pitcher, there are hairs which are directed downwards. When an insect lands in the pitcher, the lid closes and a trapped insect gets entangled in the hair. The lid closes and the insect is trapped. The insect is digested by the digestive juices secreted in the pitcher and its nutrients are absorbed. Such insect-eating plants are called insectivorous plants. Is it possible that such plants do not get all the required nutrients from the soil in which they grow? Bojo is confused. If the pitcher plant is green and carries out photosynthesis, then why does it feed on insects? Pitcher plants showing lead and pitcher. This is lead and this is lip modified into pitcher. Saprotrophs. You might have seen packets of mushroom sold in a vegetable market. You may have also seen fluffy umbrella-like patches growing in moist soil or on rotting wood during the rainy season. Let us find out what types of nutrients they need to survive and from where they get them. Packet of mushroom, a mushroom growing on decayed material. Bhojo wants to know how these organisms acquire nutrients. They do not have mouths like animals do. They are not like green plants and they lack chlorophyll and cannot make food by photosynthesis. Next activity, take a piece of bread and moisten it with water. Leave it in a moist warm place for 2 to 3 days or until fluffy patches appear on them. What is the color of these patches? Observe the patches under a microscope or a magnifying glass. Write down your observation. In the notebook, you will see cotton-like threads spread on the piece of bread. Fungi growing on bread. These organisms are called fungi. They have a different mode of nutrition. They absorb the nutrients from the bread. This mode of nutrition, in which organisms take a nutrient from dead and decaying matter, is called saprotrophic nutrition. Such organisms with saprotrophic mode of nutrition are called saprotrophs. Fungi also grow on pickles, leather clothes, and other articles that are left in hot and humid water for a long time. During the rainy season, they spoil many things. Ask your parents about the maintenance of fungi in your house. The fungal spores are generally present in the air. When they land on, Paheli is keen to know whether her beautiful shoes, which she wore on special occasion, were spoiled by fungi during the rainy season. She wants to know how fungi appear suddenly during the rainy season. Bojo says once his grandfather told him that his wheat field was spoiled by a fungus. He wants to know if fungi cause disease also. Paheli told him the many fungi like yeast and mushroom are useful, but some fungi cause disease in plants, animals, including humans. Some fungi are also used as medicine. Wet and warm things, they germinate and grow. Now can you figure out how we can protect our things from getting spoiled? Some organisms live together and share both shelter and nutrients. This relationship is called symbiosis. For example, certain fungi live inside the roots of plants. The plants provide nutrients to the fungus, and in return, the fungus provides water and certain nutrients. In organisms called lichen, a chlorophyll containing partner, which is an alga, and a fungus live together. The fungus provides shelter, water, and minerals to the alga, and in return, the alga prepare and provides food to the fungus. Next, how nutrients are replenished in the soil. Have you seen farmers spreading manure or fertilizer in the field, or gardeners using them in lawns or in posts? Do you know why this is done? You learned that plants absorb mineral and nutrients from soil, so their amount in the soil keep on declining. Fertilizers and manure contain nutrients such as nitrogen, potassium, phosphorus, etc. These nutrients need to be added from time to time to enrich the soil. We can grow plants and keep them healthy if we can fulfill the nutrient requirement of plants. Usually crop plants absorb a lot of nitrogen and the soil becomes deficient in nitrogen. You learned that too. Nitrogen gas is available in plenty in the air. Plants cannot use it in the manner they can use carbon dioxide. They need nitrogen in a soluble form. The bacterium called rhizobium can take atmospheric nitrogen and convert it into a usable form. But rhizobium cannot make its own food, so it often lives in red roots of gram, peas, mungs, beans, and other legumes and provides them with nitrogen. In return, the plant provides food and shelter to the bacteria. They thus have a symbiotic relationship. This association is of the great significance for the farmer. They can reduce the use of nitrogenous fertilizer where leguminous plants are grown. Most of pulses, dulse are obtained from leguminous plants. In this chapter, you learned that most of plants are autotrophs. Only a few plants are parasitic or saprophytic. They derive nutrition from other organisms. All animals are categorized as heterotrophs since they depend on plants and other animals for food. Can we say that the insectivorous plants are partial heterotrophs? Keywords: autotrophic, chlorophyll, heterotrophs, host, insectivorous, nutrient, nutrition, parasite, photosynthesis, saprotrophs, saprotrophic, stomata. What we have learned: all organisms need food and utilize it to get energy for growth and maintenance of their bodies. Green plants synthesize food for themselves by the process of photosynthesis. They are autotrophs. Plants are like cascata and parasites. They take food from the host plant. Plants use simple chemical substances like carbon dioxide, water, and minerals from the synthesis of food. Chlorophyll, water, carbon dioxide, and sunlight are the essential requirements for photosynthesis. Complex chemical substances such as carbohydrates are the products of photosynthesis. Solar energy is absorbed by the chlorophyll present in leaves or plant. Oxygen is produced during photosynthesis. Oxygen released in photosynthesis is utilized by living organisms for their survival. Many fungi derived nutrition from dead and decaying matters. They are saprotrophs. A few plants and all animals are dependent on others for their nutrition and are called heterotrophs. Exercise 1. Why do organisms like take food? Comment this. 2. Distinguish between a parasite and a saprotroph. Comment this. How would you test the presence of starch in leaves? Comment this. Give a brief description of the process of synthesis of food in green plants. Comment this. Show with the help of the sketch that plants are the ultimate source of food. Comment this. 6. Fill in the blanks. Green plants are called dash since they synthesize their own food. Comment this. The food synthesized by plants is stored as dash. Comment this. In photosynthesis, solar energy is absorbed by the pigment called dash. Comment this. During photosynthesis, plants take in dash and release dash gas. Comment this. Name the following. A parasitic plant with yellow, slender and branched stem. A plant that is partially autotrophic. The pores through which leaves exchange gases. Comment this. Take the correct answer. Cascata is an example of autotroph, parasite, saprotroph or host. Comment this. The plant which traps and feeds on insect is Cascata, China rose, pitcher plant or rose. Comment this. 9. Match the item given in column 1 and those in column 2. Column 1, chlorophyll, nitrogen, Cascata, animals, insect. Column 2, rhizobium, heterotrophs, pitcher plant, leaf, parasite. Comment this. Next 10. Mark T if the statement is true and F if it is false. Carbon dioxide is released during photosynthesis. T or F. Comment this. Plants which synthesize their food are called saprotrophs. T or F. Comment this. 3. The product of photosynthesis is not a protein. True or false? Comment this. Solar energy is converted into chemical energy during photosynthesis. Comment this. Choose the correct option from the following. Which part of the plant takes in carbon dioxide from the air for photosynthesis? 1. Root hair, 2. Stomata, 3. Leaf veins, 4. petals. Comment this. Choose the correct option from the following. Plants take carbon dioxide from the atmosphere mainly through their roots, stems, flower or leaves. Comment this. Why do farmers grow many fruits and vegetables crops inside large greenhouses. What are the advantages to the farmers? Comment this. Next, extended learning activities and project. Project: take a potted plant with broad leaves. Take 2 strips of black pepper and cut out a small square in the center. Cover a part of 2 leaves with these peppers and secure them with paper clips. Keep the plants in sunlight for 2 to 5 days. Observe the difference in the color of the covered and the uncovered portion on the leaf. Perform iodine test on this leaf. Did the two parts show different result? Now take second leaf, remove the strips and expose the covered part to the sunlight for 2 to 3 days and do the iodine test again. Describe your observation. Experiment to test the occurrence of photosynthesis. 2. Visit a greenhouse if there is one near your place. Observe how they grow plants. Find out how they regulate the amount of light, water, and carbon dioxide to grow the plants. 3. Try growing a sweet potato just in water. Describe your experiment and observation. You can. Did you know? Light is so important to plants that their leaves grow in many patterns so as to absorb maximum sunlight.